In 1993, Chris Carter created a television show that quickly turned into a pop culture phenomenon. The X-Files has drawn millions of devoted fans, an intense internet following, and inspired a hit film. The show launched its two stars, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, to stardom. It also made Chris Carter one of the most powerful television producers in Hollywood. Now in its 8th season, The X-Files remains Fox's highest-rated drama and a linchpin for the network. It has inspired a new Fox spinoff series called The Lone Gunman. Chris Carter is the creator and executive producer of both shows, and I'm pleased to have him here for the very first time. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Why X-Files? You know, I mean, why do you think it just connected? Beyond all the obvious stuff like good writing, good acting, all
right?
That.
That's the simple and complicated formula.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe a show that was of its time. I think it represented a certain amount of sort of growing paranoia. Technology was sort of taking off. The internet was taking off. We were feeling a little alienated, as technology tends to do. And without those cell phones, I don't think I could have told these shows, actually. So I think I think it was sort of a mood, sort of a pervasive mood in the country that sort of wanted something like this. And there's nothing scary on TV, which was really the reason I even came up with the X-Files.
Because there was nothing scary on TV.
Nothing scary on television. Yeah. When I was a kid, there was a show on called The Night Stalker, and I've told this story now how many times.
Yeah.
It starred Darren McGavin, and it was great. It was actually written by this man Matheson, who's so famous for writing great Twilight Zones and so much other great science fiction, and originally written by Jeff Rice. And it was the scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life, and I could have watched it every night of the week. And I was 13 or 14 at the time, and so I think I carried that with me. And finally, I had a chance, after having worked in the industry for a few years, to do what I wanted to do. And this was the first thing this is the first idea I really got to bring to the screen.
So the idea for X-Files comes from The Night Stalker, in a sense. There's a link.
Yes, the Richard Matheson's original screenplay about these vampires. That there was this character who played Carl Kolchak. He would go out. He was a newspaper reporter. No one would believe him. He'd go out and he'd find these wonderful things, and he was the believer, kind of like Mulder. And I'm sure it was the inspiration for that character.
Now, do you have some sense of? I mean, this is what turns you. This is what you like, and so therefore that's what you want to make.
Right. Yes, exactly. These are the kind of stories I like to.
Okay. Now, what's the shared What's the shared characteristics of the people who like these kinds of things?
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's good. First of all, it's just good storytelling. Yeah. It's good mysteries unraveling in sort of unpredictable ways. But it's two characters. It's a point counterpoint. It's the believer and the skeptic taking these stories through, and the stories actually are based on a tremendous amount of good hard science. We're very careful to make the science good in the show.
Where do you get that?
We have science advisors, and we go to various and sundry people. Well, actually, the interesting thing I found about science is that we've been taken to task a few times about the science on the show. And what's interesting is that you'll find that scientists also have different. Science is very subjective about what is accurate, what is not accurate. So science itself has a certain science fiction quality.
Yeah. Now, your role is executive producer.
Yes.
And creator.
Yes.
Yeah. But does that mean, I mean, are you executive producer in the same way that David Kelly is an executive producer? In that everything, every page, every line, everything comes through you?
No, but a tremendous amount of it comes through me.
Yeah.
For 8 years now.
Is it as challenging and as interesting as it was day one?
It's harder in some ways. When you deal with this subject matter, which is, it sort of skirts or tends to cross several different lines into horror and science fiction and mystery and thriller, you tend to mine the easy ore, if you will, very quickly. And as the show gets harder, the subject matter gets harder to come by. Actually, I think the show gets better, but the show does get harder. And you dealing with essentially two characters until this year. And you need to take those characters through personal experiences.
Right.
And so when you get to, 180 hours of the show, which is where we are now, that tends to, you've mined a lot of the experiences, and you've developed those characters in pretty complete ways.
Yeah, someone said to me the other day that they thought the relationship had changed. I mean, it was different today.
Oh, it definitely is. Well, what's happened this year is, for 7 years, we told these stories with a believer and a skeptic, Mulder and Scully.
Right.
And what's happened this year is that David Duchovny has opted to stay out of half of the episodes, so we had to create a reason for his absence and make him a kind of absent center.
Yeah. So she's the center now.
She's the center, and she is sort of moved from the skeptic to the believer, a reluctant believer, and these are oversimplifications of the characters. But we've brought in a new character who plays the sort of knee-jerk skeptic, played by Robert Patrick. That is not. There's actually those characters were the. That was the pilot episode. That was the original Mulder and Scully. They look so young there, I almost don't recognize it.
Yeah, it's exactly.
We were all young then.
Yeah. Now, and why is David not here?
You know, I think he's
just
decided,
busy with other things?
To pursue other things. He's a smart person. He's a talented person. I don't blame him for wanting to get on with his life. A TV series is very, very hard work, and when you have a two-character show like this, it tends to, it becomes your life, and I think that he wants a change of pace.
Was it disappointing for you? Was it?
It was different. It presented
hurt?
It's funny when a television show goes on for this many years and you're as close to the actors and you become a kind of family. And if every family has its problems and it becomes the dysfunctional aspects come out, and that's not to say that they did, but what happens with the television show, the dysfunction is really the business and the personal crossover. And I think that's what happened certainly last year, is that those things got very confused.
Okay. Roll tape. This is a scene from the new show. Well, before I roll tape, let me just talk about it. So where did we get the Lone Gunman? Where does that come from?
The Lone Gunman are three computer geeks who have been on the series from the beginning, or the first season. They were comic relief, and now we're trying to give them a comedy show of their own.
Now, all right, let me just get this, Chris. So you had these three geeks, and you just, you know, did they? Was it just a natural, or did you look at your hit show and say, I got to figure out a way to have a spinoff here, and this is the best thing I've got going right over here?
The last thing I ever want to do is like just do something because it seems like a way to make money or an obvious idea. I'm really trying to expand our base of operations here and do something completely different, as we always do. And the Lone Gunman is a comedy, and we've never done comedy in the 10 years I've been at Fox doing these kinds of shows. This is a real change for us, and it's really a lot of fun.
Do you want to do comedy?
Yeah, that's where I began. So.
All right, roll tape. This is a scene from the Lone Gunman. We'll talk more about it. Here it is.
All right, try cutting electrical power.
We've thought of that. We've thought of everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're experiencing some technical difficulties up here. At this time, we'd like you all to return to your seats.
And kiss your asses goodbye.
Finally, we're getting close. I know. Damn it! New York Center, this is Atlantic National Flight 265 Heavy. We are declaring an emergency. We have 110 souls on board, 16,000 pounds of fuel, and no dangerous goods or cargo to report. Come on, Bro Hickey.
Fronts have failed, haven't they?
There's still hope.
Hope my next turnout's as nice as my last one.
Okay, so what makes this compelling for you as the creator?
Well, this is a great action sequence. It's a great special effects sequence, which is what we do so well on television that a lot of shows don't do. It's what makes the X-Files different.
Right.
But it's these three geeks, these three computer geeks, basically foiling terrorists trying to destroy the World Trade Center. And they do it in a funny way, and it's what makes the X-Files good, and it's what is going to make the Lone Gunman good, which is the stories are very believable, but they're outrageous.
Are you as confident of the Lone Gunman as you were of the X-Files?
Well, you're
Depends
never
on your confidence.
Exactly. You're never that confident because it's a business of failure. Most things fail, and you have to get people to come watch it, and you've got to make sure that it's working. And shows need to develop; they need time to develop.
Yeah.
Right now, I can tell you that we're doing all the things right that we do right on the X-Files. It's really just a matter of the audience investing in these characters, and liking what we do, and liking the brand of comedy.
I think everybody wants to know the answer to this, and I, including me, trust no one came from where?
From me.
From your head.
Yes. So actually, when I came up with it, and all of a sudden, when you start, reading literature, Shakespeare said it, in different ways. I mean, it is a very common sort of mantra out there, but it just seemed to sort of perfectly symbolize the show.
And the truth is out there came from
That came from me too.
From your head.
Exactly. Those opening titles really needed a button, and because I'm a writer first, language is always very important to me, and so all the shows that I've done really have had that kind of language, that sort of textual approach to the material.
You're a writer first.
Yes.
Yeah. And isn't that a cry to make a feature film, for you?
It is, but I mean,
you have no time.
At the same time, I have no time because I have a television job, 2 television jobs now. It is, and the truth is there are movies out there. The Insider, I love that movie. I thought it was a great movie, and I'd love to make a movie like that. It wasn't a popular movie. It was a critically acclaimed movie, but not a popular movie. So
I've actually talked to Michael about that. Michael Mann about it. I mean, he thinks it may have had time when it was released, and a whole series of factors that affected it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he did a beautiful job. I can watch that movie over and over, and I think that.
But what is it about that movie that appeals to you?
I love the character. I love the approach to the material. I love the storytelling.
You love the producer character rather than the Wallace character or anybody else?
No. I mean, I love both of those characters. I love the Russell Crowe character too. It's a very sympathetic character who sacrifices so much for something he believes in. It's an American tragedy of sorts, but it's a cautionary tale at the same time.
Yeah. But why aren't you if you feel that there's such a void, why aren't you making, not that television isn't great, I happen to think that there are more interesting things on television than there are feature films being made, personally. And if you look at the full spectrum of television.
I think you're probably right.
And more, and real opportunity now because HBO and Showtime, they're all getting into, in a sense, making films. And I think, you and I just saw a young man who just made a film called George Washington who was on this show. Right. I mean, there's he'll be able to make feature films, I'm sure. But boy, I'd be thrilled if he would make that kind of film also for television. I mean, there've got to be other kids like him.
Well, and it's a matter of a commercial success. You only get another chance if you do it well. But that's true to an extent. I think smart people recognize talent and will take somebody.
And not only recognize that, I mean, they just relish it.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah,
don't you?
Oh, sure. I mean, everybody. I mean, it's so hard to come by. So the real good filmmakers are few and far between, I think.
Are you doing everything you want to do? You?
No.
Tell me what you hunger to do, I mean, in terms of a kind of complete life.
Well, it's funny, I look back at my life and I tend to want to master things, and I tend to want to, in a way, I've mastered the television format, although you never master it really because it's so hard to keep hold of. But I began as a writer, so I would love to write a novel, and I have one in mind that I've wanted to write for so long. So if this writer's strike happens, that's probably what I will do.
So the reason you haven't written this novel is because you haven't had time to write it in your mind.
It's a matter of time. And
what does it say to you if I would say, Chris, you haven't written the novel because you didn't want to write the novel bad enough?
You're probably right. It's probably something, some fear.
And if it was dying to get out, it would get out, right?
I think that's true to an extent, but television schedules are such that you are consumed by them. I liken it to stoking the fire in a runaway train every day.
You got to keep it up.
Yes.
Yeah. The casting of X-Files, was that easy for you? Did you have some instinct that these two were just perfect and they would have a kind of moonlighting chemistry?
Yeah, I mean, I did, but the chemistry, the scene that you showed, that was the first time I'd ever seen these two people act together, and it was the first day of shooting on this show that I've been working on for over 9 years now. You don't know that chemistry is that's the magic. That's what you cannot manufacture. Right. And so when these people, walked into this room and began acting together, you see something that you can only hope for, which is that thing that will elevate.
You had never seen them together.
I had never seen them act together. They had auditioned separately.
Not in rehearsal, not anywhere.
Not in anything, and that's not true. I'd actually seen them in a room once, but it was really in a very nervous room about, are we going to go forward with these two people? And he was a very easy choice, and she was a less easy choice. No one knew of her. She looked much different than she looks now. She was disheveled. She had actually just moved from New York to California. She looked like an urchin, but she had a quality. She had a gravity and a bearing and a seriousness about her as a young woman that could make her believable as this scientist.
She could hold her own.
Yes.
Roll tape, another scene from dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to dialogue. Are you, is that sort of what, do you care a lot about it, or you look for the sort of narrative to move your story forward, and dialogue just sort of finds its place?
Well, the dialogue is all important. I think we're unlike a lot of television shows, popular television shows, and some of the best television shows on TV, because we action and suspense, and because this is kind of a thriller each week, camera is so important. So your storytelling, not with just dialogue, but the camera helps to tell the story as well. But if dialogue, of course, is it's got to sing, or it just lays there.
It becomes laden.
Yes.
Yeah. At the end of last season, what were your expectations about what you would do this season?
I didn't know we'd be back this season. It looked very iffy. David Duchovny, one of the stars, did not want to come back. And he was in a lawsuit, and it looked like this series may end. 7 years, that's a nice long run. And I was asked if we could do the series without him, and I said, no, I don't want to do the series without him. He relented. He agreed to do 11 episodes, and I had to figure out a way to do 11 episodes.
Was that because of you?
Yeah.
You know.
It was because I could have said no, and the series may have ended. But once again, I call myself a majority stockholder in this show. Fox could have done anything they wanted to do, and luckily we all were on of one mind ultimately, and we're in our 8th year and looking forward to possibly a 9th.
How long can it go?
It could probably go forever with the right elements. If it had the resources, meaning if it had the good actors, if it had the good storytellers. I'm not sure how much longer I want to do it.
You don't know?
No.
Could someone reproduce today Twilight Zone, a kind of Rod Serling role?
I think so. I think this show owes so much to the Twilight Zone. All the stories are completely different. We both deal with the unexplained, but they were parables and allegories. I actually go back and watch the Twilight Zone a lot, and I think we did an episode this year that was much like the Twilight Zone. It'd be hard. It's a tremendous amount of work. You have to have a tremendous amount of writing talent, and it's all about that. It's about vision. It's about people who have stories to tell.
Did he write all of them, or none of them?
He didn't. No, he wrote some of them, and in fact, he left the show after it turned from a half-hour to an hour show. So he had something he wanted to do, and they took place in that little half-hour format.
The Lone Gunman is airing for 3 weeks, and the X-Files time slot on Sundays at 9 p.m. on Fox. It moves to its regular Friday night 9 p.m. slot on March 16th. The X-File, as you know, airs at Sundays at 9 on Fox. Chris Carter, executive producer of the X-Files and executive producer of The Lone Gunman. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.